Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to create some um, layouts for a memory recap spread. And there's no right way or wrong way to do it, but this is normally how I start off my recap spreads because, a blank page is fairly daunting. So if you can fill it in with shapes, it doesn't have to be precise or exact, but it's just helpful to get a general overview of how you want your page to look. So as you can see, I started off with a really big rectangle in the middle of the page. I normally just put my month or event. So if I'm doing a recap of a specific event, like I will be here for my Taiwan trip this last winter, then I normally just put the title in the middle. And because I know that this is like a specific event with dates involved, I put the two little rectangles next to my title page so I can put in the start date and end date of my trip to Taiwan. Um, but if you have these little leftover space on either side, you can fill it with doodles. And then for the rest of the page, I just fill in with whatever shapes I can think of. Generally, I stick with like rectangles or squares. Sometimes I'll do circles, but those are a little bit harder to fill in. So I try to stick with like angular shapes. And then sometimes I'll add a little like wave or a little curve like I did at the very top, just to break up the straight lines that go across the page. It makes it a little bit more visually interesting. Same thing with the bottom, I'm making it like a little diagonal shape instead of just straight flat lines. I just try to add as many squares or rectangles as I need. Like I always write down my list of events that happened during the month or during whatever specific memory I'm trying to create for, and then I just fill in as much space as possible. So this is another one that I did, just another idea. Instead of doing a straight rectangle across for the title, I did like a little wave and then filled in the rest of the space with, again, different shapes. Okay, so now we're going to fill in all the shapes with the memories that we've listed. So of course I start with the title in the middle and then I write the dates on the side, but you guys can start wherever you want. Personally, I like starting with with the title because it's the biggest space and it's fairly easy to fill in. It's especially if you just do a rectangular shape. And then to decide what memory goes where, there's really like no rule of thumb. But I would just, obviously, if it's a very long memory with many different parts, then I would stick it in one of the longer or bigger shapes. For example, for my Hualien section, we visited multiple locations, so I wanted to try to write some of them down. So if you read Chinese, please excuse my terrible Chinese handwriting. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I included some parts so in the future when I look back on my spread, I can remember, hopefully, what some of these places are. And then, the simple ones like specific locations, Taipei and Chiayi, which were just like one-worded memories, I can fit in the smaller space. And then for when you're deciding what lettering style to do, generally I stick to the same style. I normally do block letters. And then if it's a very tight space or there's a lot of text in a specific area, then I will just stick to monoline with maybe some serifs at the end to make it a little bit more interesting. And something to keep in mind is that you don't have to lay it out precisely or exactly the first time you put down the words. For example, in this section, I'm trying to write down all the names of my friends that I saw during my Taiwan trip. And it might not seem necessary, but I was thinking about it while I was creating this that, like, when I look back on this trip in like 5 years or 10 years' time, I might not remember exactly who I saw. So it could be helpful to write down things that you might not think is necessary currently, but just remember this is for future you to look back on. So as you can see, I've had to erase a couple times because I realized that I am missing a name and I wanted to fit them all in. So this is just me trying to figure it out. There's a lot of erasing. I always do this part in pencil so that you can erase and make things fit better. Um, but I mean, if you want to start with pen, that's also fine. But personally, for me, I like to think about my layouts and like there's always a lot of erasing involved. And you don't always have to do your words or your memories in one, vertically or horizontally like we always do. You can flip your book around, do it upside down, do it sideways, whatever you think is helps fit in these words into your memories. Once you finish laying it out with just plain text, you can go back and do your lettering style, which is fun. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and I look forward to seeing what you guys create.